Hi, it's Heather McKissick. I'm CEO of CUES, and today I am very excited to be here with our friends from Navy Federal Credit Union, Dietrich Kuhlman and Ed Cochran, CEO and board chair. And we're really excited that the two of you decided to join us here in San Diego for our directors conference. Thank you for coming.
Hello to be here.
Yeah. So we here at the Directors Conference are focusing, as you already know, on excellence in governance, talking about what it means to be good governance, excellent governance for a credit union, especially during these incredibly volatile times. So I'd love to start with you first, Ed, if you don't mind. Tell us your perspective. What's your leadership philosophy when it comes to leading a board of a credit union during these times?
I would say my biggest focus, and Dietrich and I talk about this and we're in perfect sync, is maintaining the culture we have in Navy Federal. Our slogan of our members are the mission, and they're not just 5 simple words. I mean, it encapsulates everything that we do and how we think about our members and how we serve them. And I think, Dietrich and I have worked together a long time. Even our first careers we were together. We know each other really well. I try to make sure the board is in sync with what Dietrich and management are doing. We've got pretty much a master plan in terms of these are the priorities we want everybody to focus on. So from that standpoint, I think it's worked really well.
Tell me a little bit more about how you keep the board in sync. When there is a big strategic decision or something that you think might present a risk that the board needs awareness of, what's your strategy for making sure that they fully understand and are aligned so that management can take that direction and operationalize it appropriately?
I would say we've got a 3-pronged master plan right now that kind of encompasses everything in what we're doing. And basically, how do we better serve our members? How do we take care of our employees? And how do we make the IT investments that we need to make to enable all that? We meet monthly in terms of board meetings. There are a lot of committee meetings. My sense is our board members have a pretty good sense. They don't have the expertise, obviously, that Dietrich and his staff have, but we've got the overall priorities, and I think it works well. And if we get into we don't have that many contentious topics either. When it comes up for strategic decisions or those kind of things, again, we've got that basic prism. As long as we're in sync with that, and if we're not thinking about what's best for the members, well, then the yellow flags need to go up and we need to talk some more.
So last year we went live on a brand new digital infrastructure and system that includes a new mobile app, a new online app, and a new application that are what we call member service representatives that they use, and it's all riding on the same backplane. And so that system, once I put an upgrade into one of it, it cascades through all of it. And so the member really gets the advantage of now I've got the data, now I've got a delivery system digitally to provide that data, whether that's an in-person experience or a digital experience.
So your member walks into the branch and they are receiving the same service, number one,
Yes.
but also the same experience as they would be if they were on their phone or on their laptop, wherever they might be. Tell me about the change management process around all of that. Like as a leader, as a strategic leader on the board, as the CEO, really knowing that there are a lot of opportunities, right, for disruption when you're implementing that kind of change. How did you lead your team through that kind of seamlessness, that sort of 360 member experience that you all are creating? What's the number one leadership tip that you'd like to give us on how to really help the staff make that trip?
Well, I'll start, and I will kick it over to Ed, because I can say you start with the staff, but you actually start with the board.
I believe that.
And so the support and trust from our board to support us during that journey was the absolute starting point that then enables us to rally the staff. Knowing the board is behind everything they're doing is a huge part of that.
they like to joke about me. IT is my weakest area. I understand, high plane stuff. And basically what we ask every time we do a plan, I tell Dietrich, do you have what you need in the way of the IT stuff? And he basically says, yeah, we got what we need. So, but beyond that, when you start digging into all this, it's kind of a little bit over my head. But like I said, our
I
board,
can relate to that.
what our board's perspective is, we want to provide Dietrich and the staff with whatever they need there, as long, within reason. So beyond that, details, they work it out. Yeah.
And we also have, as most I think boards do, is we have individual committees. So we don't have a lot of them. We do have a supervisory committee that's like audit for most, but we do have a technology committee, and so we take them down a few more deeply into that. We have a strategy and risk committee, and then we have a finance committee, as you would imagine. So
really good supportive governance.
Yeah.
A good supportive board is foundational
Right.
when it comes to implementing that kind of technology, any kind of enterprise change like you have. And now,
can I just say there's one more big
yeah.
key, and Ed's sort of been a leader in this too, which is all our board meetings are in person only.
Yeah.
So, and all our board meetings are followed by a dinner that's very highly attended by both the staff, and additionally, all of our senior executives come to the board. So it's about 50 folks in the room, I think, on average. And then we have a nice dinner afterward. And so we really work to keep the relationships high, so that
You can
the trust
accomplish
stays high.
just as much in that informal setting, the dialogue and everything, as you can sometimes in the board meetings.
that's a lot of inclusion and visibility and maybe even vulnerability, right, for the board to be able to open themselves up and allow that kind of direct interaction with staff of all kinds, especially during these kinds of volatile change initiatives or periods of potential volatility. I love that. There's got to be sort of a leadership philosophy in there for you too, Dietrich. How do you feel about leading with that visibility and vulnerability, especially with an enterprise of your scale?
Oh, wow. Now you get me telling a sea story, but this is what I told the staff on my second day as CEO, that I felt like I was back on my first submarine that I commanded.
Oh, wow.
And at that submarine that I was sent to, I had the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 of the 45 best department heads in the squadron. And so I walked in
submarine with you.
on that submarine with me. So I'm walking into the A team. It's a submarine that's been named the best submarine in the squadron in the last 2 years with that crew. And so I really knew I had a group I could put my trust in. And you tweak things a little bit. You set a little different vision and course, but mostly just let them run with the show. And I feel the very same about the staff that I was given. I've been here about 2 years as CEO. I was COO before that, so knew the staff well, and we just have an A team. So the ability to really get them involved in the leadership decision making was one of my big objectives. And so we lead with that same kind of vulnerability. And it was talked about a little bit here. You have to introduce the possibility that it's going to fail, but the goal is to fail fast, and then move on to the next thing, learn and move on to the next thing.
That's amazing. And hire right in the first place. Know that you're walking into that A team and give them the trust that they deserve, right? And therefore, what do? They trust you in return. I love that. Wow, what a story.
And it breaks down a lot of silos that way too. So I would say when I got to the credit union in 2019, we still had a bit of that, but we have largely been able to work across that. So the fact that they feel trusted gets them trusting each other. And I think that's really paid dividends and making them so much more productive.
And works its way all the way to the number 2, but really the number 1, customer experience, member experience rating, right?
Right.
Because then those team members can see how you trust their leaders and how their leaders trust them, and that cascades its way all the way down to the teller line.
If you went just to the dinner sessions after our board meetings, we've got how many staff there? I mean, all the senior VPs.
Probably about
I mean,
30.
Yeah. And you'll see all the board members, all the volunteers, whatever it is, they're all, whatever they need to know specifically, you know, in a particular product area or whatever that a VP has expertise on, they're fanned out all over there. I mean, he gives us access to all those. So
Love that. Do you know what I really like about this story too? Is that, and I'm sure you all are up against this all the time, and you'll hear stories from $100 million credit unions about the transparency between the board and the staff, you know, and how the chair's wife bakes cookies for everybody's birthday, or, you know, whatever the case may be, this high degree of interaction. And I think there's a misnomer that you can't have that same kind of transparency and interaction between the board and the team the larger you get as a credit union. And so I love sitting here talking to you all as the largest of the credit unions and hearing this kind of story around what we all know as credit unions, which is that relationships are all there is.
Right.
So that's really inspiring to me, that you have maintained that ethic and cooperation internally, regardless of the scale that you're operating at now. Thank you guys so much for being such important leaders for our movement and for our industry.
Well, thank you, Heather, and thank you for what CUES does and the leadership you folks provide, and the phenomenal training to directors and boards across the credit union